podcast. I'm your host, Jesse Ewell, and today we're going to be talking with Andrew Lobacz, who's a chiropractor, and we're going to be talking to him about the results he's gotten inside a habit-based lifestyle, and really the last 10 days, he has absolutely crushed it inside of our program. So he's going to give us a little breakdown of some of the things he's doing and just some of the mindset shifts that have taken place. So Andrew, do you mind just telling everybody a little bit about yourself and just kind of like what you do for business?
Yeah. So, chiropractor, I've been doing it for, 18 years, I guess now. And for a long time, we ran paid ads, and I found that they're kind of like having Groupons going. I mean, they will bring some people in, and I found it's almost like throwing spaghetti up against the wall. I mean, some of it will stick, but a lot of it falls off. And I just got kind of tired of, all the tire kickers. And I just wanted something that, made more sense and that you can actually have a connection with people. And they, by the time they actually come into your office, they're already kind of excited and almost look at you like a celebrity. And so I kind of find that, doing this organic type of marketing, with working with Jesse, it's made it a whole lot easier to be consistent and have people actually come in and look at you as an expert. So it's been like really cool to have that happen. So
yeah, so let's kind of go back a little bit. Obviously, you've been doing this a long time, long enough to even know what Groupon is, right? You just kind of age yourself when you're like, hey, we used to do Groupon. So not many people today know what that is, but back in the day, Groupon was a pretty big thing. But like, take me back, man. 4 months ago, 5 months ago, before you actually started here, what was kind of your primary marketing method that you were using at the time?
I think we were just doing Facebook ads mainly, and we were doing super cheap, $21, get people in the door, that kind of deal to get people in to come in. And I mean, it kind of worked sometimes, but had a lot of tire kickers, and I was just, it's you spend a lot of your day with people that aren't really that interested, and it's not
right.
much
So
fun to do that.
what does it do? Because like you guys, obviously you invest heavily into your education, right? You're investing, $250,000 to become a chiropractor. You go to school for 4 years, right? And then you come out, and then here you are charging $21, for somebody to come in and work with you, and they don't really value you at $21. And not only that, you're sitting there like, hey man, like $21 for me to do an adjustment on this person that I'm probably going to spend the next half hour to an hour with, and they're probably just going to go walk out the door, and they're going to go to the next chiropractor down the street and do the same thing.
Yep.
So like, what's the mindset behind that, man, when you just see that day after day?
Oh man. Yeah. I mean, it's frustrating, frankly, but I mean, it's interesting in the beginning because you start seeing your calendar fill up like you've probably never had it fill up in the past, where because before there was you just kind of hoped, you kind of open your doors and pray and hope that it's going to kind of work out, and there was no real method, and it really was just madness. You just kind of hope that it's going to work out and you're doing a good job and taking care of people and hoping some referrals are coming in and that kind of thing. But there was no like game plan that really got you any traction. And so, I found doing the ads like that, I mean, you kind of had to learn, either do your own ads or pay somebody to do them for you. And, I kind of like to be able to be in control of things. I want to have a genuine conversation when people come in even. And I think that was kind of, a little bit, in the chiropractic world, we call it subluxated, right? It's a little subluxated to have this like super, super cheap offer and then have this gigantic change that can happen with people, and have this amazing gift, and you're giving them, at rock bottom Dollar General type of pricing. And I mean, people, I think a lot of people were like turned off by the idea of having such a cheap, like it just doesn't make sense, like something's off here. So
right.
That was kind of the big thing for me. I was like, man, I get people, but it's not people that are quality. It's all, they might even, join my, because I ran like a membership, and I still run a membership type of practice where people pay like a monthly fee. But it wasn't where they were like coming in and like, yeah, that's what I want. You know, it was like, I spent a lot of
Right.
time explaining, and it was a lot of time wasted. And I have regular patients that are waiting on me because I'm explaining to somebody who's not serious anyway. So yeah, man, it
Yeah.
became frustrating. And that's why, you know, when I kept getting your emails and stuff and I kept seeing them, I'm going, okay, well, what's this dude offering, man? I can't figure out what he's up to or what he's doing. And, you know, finally I jumped on a call and it kind of made sense. And I said, man, I love that. It's, you know,
Yeah. So let's go through, because like obviously you've worked with, other coaches, other companies,
sure.
which we'll kind of get into, man. But like being in our program, you've been in for a little while, and the biggest thing, like what's kind of been the biggest thing that's really just shifted for you in the last, couple weeks?
Well, I mean, I think really just getting down and doing the work. I mean, and I think that's kind of the biggest part of it is just for a while we had some things going on and I just couldn't really dig in yet. And then, you know, I kept telling Jesse, I said, when I have the time to dig in, you're going to see a change. And that's what happened. I mean, it's, you know, I actually got down and decided, you know, we're going to put a game plan together to make this happen. And I mean, it's funny because the work it's there. But it's not like it's super time consuming or it's like difficult work. It's just showing up to do it. Just do the damn work. I mean, it's not hard. Just do it. So,
Yeah.
you know, I was guilty of just not doing it, frankly. I mean, that was kind of what it was, you know, and I think just having a little bit of time to kind of figure it all out and kind of look at it again, not because it was difficult, just the time frame was kind of an issue for me at the time. But, you know, I think being able to have people come in that are already in good communication and that kind of want what you have, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. So let's kind of talk a little bit about, so one is you have the chiropractic side of what you're doing. And then you have kind of like the weight loss, the using the lighting and all that. So like, you have kind of a high ticket offer for each, right?
Right.
We kind of, mapped out a little bit more specific, weight loss program that can really help people get the results they want. So like when people come in now, what's different than when they came in for the same thing, or maybe a little bit less, like 5 or 6 months ago?
Yeah, so we kind of did a typical Facebook type of offer, I guess, you know, an $89 try it out type of situation. And you know, I'd have some people that were kind of interested, but there was nothing that was no like roadmap for them. You know, nothing to say like if you want to get from here to here, this is what we got to do. You know, and before it was just let's do it. You know, 6 times or 4 times or whatever it was. Whoever I wasn't actually running a lot of that before. I had a girl that was doing it, and it was kind of a cluster, frankly, because there was nothing that was really going to get them where they needed to be. It was just, you know, I think that the companies a lot of times, and I mean, the company I used and the guys they had market for us in the beginning, you know, they kind of just were weighing very heavily on the lights alone, you know, and I don't think that's a way to really do that. I mean, I don't think it's impossible, but I think if you really want to make changes, you know, you have to put a program together. And that's what Jesse kind of helped me do with his background and experience. It made it a lot easier to, you know, put a program together that made sense for people and, you know, make it affordable for folks. Affordable, and it is a high ticket offer, frankly, but still where they are comfortable doing it, you know, where they're comfortable putting out the money because they see it makes sense.
Right. Yeah. So, let me ask you this, man, like tangible, results as far as like money, like what has been, what do you think you've added, just say in the last, 2 to 3 weeks alone?
I'd say within just over a week, a little over 15.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
15,500.
Yes, sir.
And when is there a time you remember, getting that type of result in your practice like that with that consistency?
Never.
So
Never.
in 18 years, you've never seen that consistency
Never.
of like a higher ticket offer?
Nope. We have, like I said, we have a membership practice, so we have, you know, decent money coming in, but we never had paid in full upfront type of pricing in the past. So it was a little bit of a shift for me to do that, but once I kind of figured out in my mind how to do that, it became a lot easier, and it's a lot more profitable, frankly, and it helps the bottom line, and it makes things a lot more comfortable, not only at the office but at home. It's
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, man, it probably helps with is like getting your cash flow up on the front end, which
sure,
allows you to strategically reinvest some of that money back into other things, whether it be people, processes or other things. And I think, in the industry or just being a business owner, that sometimes is the way we run our business isn't always the most profitable and isn't always like centered around that. Like, how do I get my cash flow up so I'm
right.
stable so I can begin to reinvest some of that money?
Not only that, man, I mean, that brings a really good point, but something that else that just kind of popped in my mind with that is that, I think when cash flow is good, and I think chiropractor and whatever business you're in, there's always going to be, this kind of ebb and flow that happens. But I mean, when cash flow is good, everything is better everywhere, frankly. I mean, even at home,
Yeah.
like my wife could come home and say, "What's happening today? Why are you in the mood?" And she knows like immediately, like this emotional cloud that she has around her that can pick up on these things, and it's like she can tell. And I mean, and I don't want to be like that. I mean, I want to be the best I can for my wife, my kids, all the above. So, I think it's important that, obviously, I think we even have to look at money a little bit differently sometimes. I think a lot of people get almost scared to make money, or that like it's evil or something. And, I had to learn a long time ago that it's, money's not what we need to be. I like money, but I like what money can do for us. I like what the
Right.
money can do for our family and reinvesting into your business or whatever it might be. But, it's kind of one of those things where I really didn't have a solid game plan in the past, to actually get people in the door. And this, and that's one thing I love about, kind of what you've done is like I said, if you know, pay me, take care of things, teach me, and then at the end of the day, like I have this forever now. Like it's not
Yeah.
something that's, like it's certain software or something that is, only, that only Jesse can have. I mean, once you learn, it's yours. So it's pretty cool. And last week I've paid that back, right? So it's it's multiple times over, right? So it works. It makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So let me ask you this, man. Like, what's the skill that you really feel like you are taking away that is giving you that confidence and certainty as a business owner?
Hmm. Well, I think just in general, I've been at it for quite a while, man. So it's I think the confidence gets raised up after you're kind of like that show where the antique show where they go in and they like break the ice with somebody. I can't remember the name of it right off the top of my head right now, but as soon as they break the ice with somebody and they've like made a deal, things got easier. They could buy
Yeah.
something else easier, right? And so I think I think once you do this once or twice, and pretty soon, like this is the new normal for you. You go like, this is what you expect out of people. It's not a game or like a money game or a money fearing game. It's just this is what we do. Like if this is for you, you're at the right place.
Yeah. I mean, I always think of like skills, right? As business owners that we have to have that we don't usually have. Like, you spent a ton of money on your education,
Uh-huh.
but then when it comes to being an actual business owner, it's like, how much did I actually invest in being a marketer? How much did I actually invest in understanding sales or putting together, um, packages or programs that are the best thing for my clients? And oftentimes, especially in the health and wellness space, we can be heavily invested in the skill of, being a chiropractor, being a health professional. But then when it comes to the skill of the business, we're
Right.
way down here, right? And so like kind of what I see for you, man, is you've really elevated your skill set on the business side of what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, even part of that, I mean, I've always kind of had like monthly goals and like try to keep track of all that, like QuickBooks, this kind of thing. But I think I mean, you can definitely see those goals being way more obtainable when you have the skills to, sell it and sell it the right way. But, it makes it easy to sell when you're sharing and you're actually helping people. It's not
yeah,
just, it's not about getting that next sale. It's about actually, elevating these people up to a higher level. So I
Right.
think that to me it just makes it so much simpler. Like you quit thinking about your own pocket and you could just go, look, this is what you need. It's not it's not really up for debate. I mean, if it's your body, you can do what you want, but I'm telling you, this is what you need to do. So
That's awesome.
It makes it whole lot easier.
So let me ask you, man, what's been a mindset shift that you've made, in the last like couple months?
Well, well, these are deep questions, man.
Hey, man, you know how we do it,
right? Yeah, I think maybe a mind shift would probably just be, I think we all kind of have these levels that we're maybe sitting at, and we kind of think this is kind of like where I'm at, and you start, you kind of start talking to some of the other guys in the group, and you start seeing some of their numbers, and you just go, man, it's attainable. You can get to these higher levels if you put the work in, and you kind of know what to do, and you make it happen. I mean, I think it's the famous story of the guy that had a certain time on the mile, and then once it was beat, they're like, oh, it can be beat. Okay, that's fine. I think that's what I've started seeing is like I start seeing these numbers that from some of the other guys in the group, and it's like, well, this is doable. I mean, these guys are doing it. I can do that. Like, so yeah. I mean, I think for me that was kind of the biggest thing. I don't have to be stuck at a level where I'm doing well, but not like where I know that I can be. And so I think that was kind of the big thing for me, just seeing some success in the group. So time to quit slacking, man. Get off my butt and start working a little bit. So
yeah, you're actually raising the bar, man, in the group. So what's been really cool is to see you kind of be the pace setter for the last 9 to 10 days.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool. Let me ask you this, man. We talked about the results that you've gotten, but like maybe what's an unexpected result you've gotten in the program?
If I were to say, I think maybe just breaking out of my shell a little bit as far as, well, many things, but maybe I think the one that gets me maybe the most is just being able to kind of talk to people when it was a little tougher to do in the past, even, like I kind of thought of it as almost like a cold call when it's the way it's kind of set up. It doesn't feel abnormal. The way that it's taught and the way that you put it together, it makes it feel extremely organic, and it is.
Yeah.
There's no it doesn't feel like you're selling somebody something. And I think that to me, like nobody wants to be sold to, really. I mean, you like to buy stuff, but you don't like to be sold to. So, I think that's kind of what it is. Like
people like to be sold something that they actually want, but they don't want to be sold something they don't want,
Yeah.
So
and
I think
I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever had so many people like even send me messages like, when can I come in? Like, I've never had that before. And now I'm getting that. I'm like going, this is wild. Like,
so when they come in, what are some of the things that they say?
Well, I mean, I literally had a lady say to me, like, when you reached out to me, I kind of wondered, like, what's this guy up to or whatever, but it was more of she's like, it just felt like we had a real, like a connection, like you wanted to talk to me like this, and you had time for me, which is kind of the whole idea. I mean, I think as in my profession, a doctor, I mean, you should, unfortunately, I think that doesn't happen as much anymore. Everyone's in such a like, go, where, when they actually have a communication with somebody and they can ask questions and it's not awkward, I think that was kind of cool. So
yeah, that's awesome, man. Let me ask you this, like you've obviously done, a lot of coaching in the past, you've worked with other coaches. Like, what do you think is the biggest difference between what we do and some of the other coaching you've had in the past?
I think there's some accountability that takes place. I think having the weekly calls that actually, I hate to say it, but I mean, some coaches I've had in the past like claim they do these and then they don't do them. And Jesse will do it, and if you don't get on a few, he'll start, texting you and say, where you at? What's going on? Which is good. I mean, I need to be held accountable. I think everybody does a little bit. We all get a little lazy at times, but you know, I think that's, I think actually when I spoke to you the first time, I said, man, I need you to kick my butt a little bit once in a while. Like that's, you know, that's got to have to happen, you know? Okay, we can do that. So I think that was, kind of one of the big things is like you do what you're supposed to do on your end. And I think that has been very helpful for me on my end, like to, you know, actually do the work. I mean, it's up to you. At the end of the day, it's up to whoever your client is to do the work, but
right.
You're there being accountable to them. And I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, hey man, I really appreciate you, you know, being on, sharing a little bit about your story. Super excited to see, you know, what you're going to do in the future. You know, let's see if you can get that bar up, you know, start doubling, tripling what you're doing now.
Sure.
And keep rolling, man. Any last words of advice for, you know, maybe the guy or woman chiropractor or health professional that's on the fence? They're like, hey, I don't know if this is going to work. I've tried so many things.
I don't think they've tried anything quite like this. I mean, as it's not, it's different and it's not the same. It's definitely a unique approach that will always work. Like, no matter what platform that you decide to use, or I think it's just a skill that you'll be able to take with you. There's no crazy software. There's no funnels. You don't have to build websites. All that other, like, you know, stuff that is like time consuming and it takes a long time to learn to do. Like, this isn't time consuming. I mean, I think it's very, very short time consuming, really. Like, you know, you can do this in the bathroom, you know, and it's nothing that you have to build stuff. You know, I think it's awesome for that reason. Like, you'll be able to use it forever. It's a skill you can always use. So if you're on the fence about it, I mean, Jesse's got ways to make it work for you, you know, and that's at the end of the day. I mean, I think it's important that you learn this fish, you know, you learn to fish, you know, I think that's, you know, from a biblical standpoint, I mean, if you learn to fish on your own, you don't have to count on other people to run your ads and that kind of stuff. You can just do your own fishing. And I think that's pretty cool. So, hey man, thanks for having me on tonight.
Yeah. So thank you so much, man. Well, hey, looking forward to seeing what you do in the coming months, and we'll talk to you soon. All right.
All right. Hey man, thanks.